Okay, this is Forrest from OGV Tech. I want to welcome you to this quick start tutorial on our brand new strategy builder. If you're watching this, this is going to be the quick start tutorial for the alpha version of this brand new tool we're super excited to release and get you access to as soon as possible. So before we get into the tool, I'm just going to put this disclaimer up here. Please pause the video, read the disclaimer, you know the drill. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is trading strategies, how you can build them very quickly and very efficiently right now using the OGV strategy builder on TradingView. It's very, very easy to use. Before we hop into the tool, let me just review this real quick with you. So what is a trading strategy? Top priority is risk management. How are you position sizing? Obviously, if you place all of your money into one trade, that's not smart. And if you blow up, you lose all your money. So position sizing, risk management is key. But what about the rest of it, where most of us get hung up on? When do we know when to buy and sell? Well, you need a strategy. I'm going to show you a really great tool to help you build these, test these, and see if it's going to make the money or lose the money given certain parameters. And you'll see how this works. And obviously, we want to do the stuff that makes the money and avoid the stuff that loses the money. So we have entry filters. What time of day are we going to trade? Are we going to trade during the New York session, overnight session? When are we going to trade? That's a type of entry filters. There's also other types of entry filters, such as, are we above VWAP? Are we below VWAP? We can filter out certain conditions to know when we'll consider possibly getting into a trade or not. Then you have entry triggers, which would be maybe level breakouts. It could be indicator-based triggers like moving average crossovers. There's a whole bunch of potential triggers that happen that will say, get me into the trade right now. Once we're in the trade, then we have position management. This would be your stop loss, your take profit levels. Those are the two basic ones that you can apply to a trade. There might also be additional exit triggers that get you out of the trade, such as it's the end of the day, I don't want to hold a position overnight, I'm out, that's my exit trigger. This is the high level concept of what a trading strategy is. You manage your risk, you get into position, and you get out of position. And this, we have a tool that will show you how these work. So before we get in the tool, I just want to say this is our email. It's admin@ogvtech.com. If you have any questions, concerns, troubles with the tool, maybe you're using it and it's not doing something you want it to do, or you want a certain feature, a certain entry trigger or exit trigger, we'd love to talk with you, help you out. Again, this is version 1.00, the very beginning of the alpha version that we're releasing to the public. And so there might be things in there that you discover that will be helpful for us to know about and for us to upgrade in the future. So email us anytime at admin@ogvtech.com. I'll get back to you, or one of my colleagues, Brian or Michael, will get back to you. And now with that, let me show you how to get access to the tool. So you should have this link. If you want to find us, our username is OGV_tech. And on there, we have this OGV LTF, meaning lower time frame trading strategy builder, the alpha version. And this is the version 1.0 that we're releasing to the public. However, we want to make sure that this isn't public. We want to make sure you have the private link to get access to it, because we want to make sure that this is only going out to people that are in our direct network. So if you have access to this, congratulations. If you are just watching the video and you want access to it and don't have this link, go ahead and email me at admin@ogvtech.com, and we're happy to share this with you. So when you get onto this page, you'll see at the top right, add to favorites. And you can just click that star and it'll be in your favorites. Once it's in your favorites, go on to TradingView. This is designed for 1 minute charts. So here you can see NVIDIA. I've got a 1 minute chart on here. I'm going to click on indicators. And when I go to favorites, I'll scroll down to OGV, and you should see OGV LTF Trading Strategy Builder Alpha version. When you click that, is going to go ahead and add it to the chart. And now you can see your indicator, OGV LTF SB Alpha V1.00 is now added to the chart. If we push updates, that version 1.00 might go up to 1.01 or 1.02, depending on when we do those updates. Now you have the power in your hands to create strategies that you want and see how they work backtesting. Obviously, what happened in the past isn't necessarily indicative of what was going to happen in the future, but wouldn't you prefer to know, given a certain set of entry and exit criteria, how has that worked in the past? And then you can use that and set it up for forward testing on the future. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown example of this, how it works, and then you're going to see, okay, I want to get in there and start playing with this and create my own strategies and see how these work. So if I have stock, we designed this on equities primarily, so it's going to work on equities and ETFs. It won't work right now on Forex and futures, but that is in the pipeline for us to work out. So you can see here the daily performance at the top right, this table, and the all-time performance of the strategy, and you're going to see numbers populate in here. You can adjust the text size so you can make this bigger. Right here, you can also move it around the screen if you wanted to put it on this side, wherever you want. I'm going to leave it at the top right. Boom, you can see there's the strategy performance here. Then there's another table here, some general statistics on this instrument. You can see it last traded at 180.02, and some other statistics. This one here is the daily ATR 8.0, and this is the percent of ATR to price. You can see the price of the open and the prior close and how up or down the stock is relative to the last price. And you can also see volume traded on today and volume average, and then the relative volume, the RVol right there. So we give you a little bit of statistics if you just want to see some higher level information there. You get, again, you can change the size of that text and move it around the screen wherever you want. If I move it to top left, there it is up there. I'll leave it bottom right. Next, you've got your significant levels. This is where we start adding on some additional things. Again, this is great for equities. You can change these ranges, the time ranges at the bottom, but you can see daily lows and highs. You can see pre-market highs and lows. That's the blue line and the dark maroon line. And you can see post-market highs and lows for equities. It's great. Again, you can customize these time windows based on what instruments you want to do. I'll show you that really quickly. At the very bottom of this inputs, you can see how many inputs we have available to you to customize however you want. You can see the post-market window, the pre-market window, opening range window, and primary market hours window. Again, we mostly trade stocks, so we designed this around that. And let us know. Email us, admin@ogvtech.com. Let us know what you want to see in here, and we're happy to work with you and figure out what's going to help out the best. So there you can see key levels, and we have indicators that can trade off of these levels, and we'll get to that in a bit. Let's say you want to see certain indicators built in, overlay indicators like Bollinger Bands. You got Bollinger Bands here, you can see. If you like VWAP and moving averages, here's some VWAP and moving averages in here. Let's say, let me go back into that gearbox here. Let's say you like these indicators, but you're not sure about the settings and you want to play with the settings. Again, that's all accessible to here. If you go to the bottom, we put the indicator parameters here. You have your ATR. We also have RSI built in, Bollinger Bands and moving averages. So these are accessible to you, and you can change the various Bollinger Band lengths, moving average lengths, and play with that, and that will change up how strategies perform. So we're about to get into the good stuff where we're going to see how certain strategies play. But first, let me show you, if you want to see moving average crossovers, there's little labels here so you can see at what price close those actually had the trigger of the crossover. If you like VWAP and you want to see your moving average cross VWAP, you can see labels that will show you where those events happened. You can change the transparency to whatever you want. If I put 80, it's going to be an even lighter color in here so it doesn't crowd your vision. I'll leave it on moving average crossovers since that's a pretty common thing everyone knows. Now, let's go into designing a strategy. You got your statistics, you've got your levels. I'll put on pre-market, high, and low so we can see that. And you've got some indicators on here. Fantastic. Now let's say I want to design a strategy and I want it to trade between 9:30 New York Eastern Time and 3:55 p.m. New York Eastern Time. You can set up that trading time window right here. Now you can set up your position sizing. This is defaulted to $1,000 of risk per trade, and it's defaulted to a $100,000 account as the simulation. If you wanted to change it to equity percent, I want to risk 1% of my capital per trade, you can do that there. There's your risk management on your position sizing. If you want to say, I only want it to take one trade a day, you can turn this on and say trade 1 time a day or 2 times a day. Fantastic. We'll leave that off. So it'll keep trading throughout the trading window here. Then you can say, do I want to go long or short only, or do I want to go both long and short? We'll say long and short. Here you have some entry filters that gives you ways of saying, I only want to trade and enter if the price is above VWAP or below VWAP. Same thing with RSIs. You can say it's overbought or oversold or any of these permutations of that. Same thing with Bollinger Bands. You can filter out certain conditions like above the pre-market high only or below the pre-market low only. So you can filter out certain entry filters like there. Once it gets past these entry filters, then it's going to look for triggers saying, here's where we're trying to get into the trade. So right here, let's just do a basic one. This is called candle color continuation. So if it sees a green candle, it's going to buy it. If it sees a red candle, it's going to sell it. And it's going to simulate that here. So here you can see 930 hits. You can see 930 right here hits, and it has a green candle. So it went ahead and bought the next bar open, and it hit an exit here, and then you can see it's a red candle, so it sold short on this next candle right there. That's this first strategy. Entry trigger, candle color continuation. Let's say you liked going and buying pre-market high breakouts and want to see how that performed. Now this is going to run the simulation for as long back as your TradingView allows. Mine's about 1 month of data on my 1 minute charts. You can see here it broke the pre-market high and closed above, so it went ahead and bought it long here and hit a stop out right here. You can see that across the past month when this was getting the data, it took 15 trades with a 66% win rate. A profit factor, this number right here is very important. This is your profit factor. This is how you can compare strategy against strategy, 1.99, and made $4,000. And then the trading day today, this set at the top shows it lost $500 on the trade today. Okay, fine. We got a strategy running right here. You have other entry triggers. I encourage you to play with this. You can fade these levels. So you can see it bought it here. But if I say I want to fade it on the pre-market high breakout, you can see instead of buying it there, it's actually shorting it right there. This strategy has a 0.43 profit factor. Not very good. It's losing money. So you want to stay away from stuff like that. Crossovers of moving averages. You can see these moving average crossovers. Here you can see the crossover happen here. So it went ahead and took a short. This one took 92 trades, a 1.07 profit factor, a small average trade of $23. So not very high. I'd want to see something higher in order to make up for commissions and fees. This is not simulating commissions and fees, but you can get that right over here in properties, commissions, and slippage. You can simulate that in there as well. Main thing I would suggest looking at is the profit factor and trying to get that up. And there are ways of getting it higher depending on how you build out your strategy. So I'll leave on the moving average crossovers. Then you get into stop loss. So if I make this smaller here, you're going to be able to see this short position, and we can see no stop is applied on here. So let's double check and let's see where these stop losses are happening. And actually, first thing I need to do is in the significant levels, this is good. Show stop loss and take profit. Make sure that's check marked. Now you can see up here is your stop loss on the trade and your take profit down here. It's set to a 1-to-1. Let me quickly show you how to do this so you can play with it. You have a fixed percentage of the price. So let's say NVIDIA is trading right here at $181. If I wanted to trade at 1% of that price, which would be about $1.80, I can set that to a 1% of the price, and it's going to put my stop loss $1.80 above. There's a few other options, fixed dollar, local ATR, higher time frame ATR. You can play with these. And then on the take profit, which is right below stop loss, you can set it to a stop loss multiple. So if I say I want to risk 1, but I want to make 1.5 when I do win, you can do that. And look at how it moved the green line down here on the take profit and kept the red line up here. And then if I wanted to say I can be a little bit tighter on my stop and have it at a 0.7% of the price, there you can see how it moved the red line down, moved the green line up, and you can see how that trade played out with those various parameters. We also include an end of day close, and you can set this to whatever time. So if you wanted to use this on other instruments, you could kind of adjust it here and there to see what times of day you might want it to force exit on the close of the day. We also have time stop triggers, which this will be if you engage the time threshold. It'll say, okay, after 20 minutes, I want to consider getting out of a position. And if it reclaims the moving average number 1, I want it to get out. So you can see here, it took a long right here. And then after 20 minutes, it started saying, are we going to reclaim this blue moving average? And then sure enough, right here, it reclaimed, it moved back down below the moving average. So it decided to pull off the position. So you can play with time stops like that with different triggers. That is this area right here. And then again, like I showed you earlier, you have your indicators, you got your time windows here, and this is going to give you a lot of analysis, very easy to see and execute on. And again, you're looking at this profit factor. This is a great example of a negative profit factor. And if you're running a strategy on a negative profit factor, you're guaranteed to lose the money. So this is a way of seeing what am I currently doing and is it a good idea to do that? Let's just say I want to buy pre-market high and pre-market low breakouts. And I'll leave the other things around. You can see it's kind of on NVIDIA, maybe not doing so much, but then you can scroll around to other stocks in your watch list or other instruments in your watch list, and you can see how they respond here. You can see it took a lot of trades there. Let me get rid of the time threshold. So it's just going to look at the pure setting up of these, and it's setting this up, and you can see this one on BABA did not work very good. Let's see another stock, Keys. This one responding well to breakouts. There's lots of things you can do with this. I'm just showing you the tip of the iceberg. Here's one way you can do this. So see, this is in a downtrend here on the daily chart. So you can start looking at higher time frame dynamics and how that might play out here. If I said, well, this has been bearish, and maybe you have another filter where you say, I only look at bearish conditions when price is below the 20-day moving average on the daily. You can set things up such as I only want to go short only. So now it's only going to consider shorts. And because in the past month it has been in this downtrend, you can see shorts performed a lot better, a 1.3. And we wouldn't be looking at pre-market high breakouts. We would be looking at pre-market high fades. And when we do that, you can see it makes a little bit more money, takes a little bit more trades, and then you can start filtering and seeing, well, what type of stop loss position works well. Maybe this is a volatile stock, so I want it to look at a 1% of the price and put this stop a little bit higher, or you can try 2%, see how that adjusts it. And that actually made the profit factor go up, which means that this is pretty volatile relative to a 2%, a 1% move. We need it more. And then you can say, well, how much can I make on the long side if I go for, let's say, a 3-to-1 on the take profit? You can see it's doing that. A 1.93 in the profit factor. If I go back down to 2, now it's making a 2.1 profit factor. And so you can see, okay, now I'm getting into some parameters that might help inform how I want to trade this particular stock, NIO. And again, you can use this for back testing. You can put these parameters on a forward test, see how it trades throughout the day, and just start using it to power up your analysis. If you're not using anything like this right now, this is definitely something to consider putting in your toolbox. Again, you can reach us at admin@ogvtech.com, and we're happy to help. Let us know what questions and comments, concerns you have, and we look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the strategy builder. Talk soon.